Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube and Instagram. And you can follow me here on Facebook while I allow it. I'm going to do a quick video here on the south coast of New South Wales. Quite wet, very, very stormy. I'm heading out to a job at the moment, but anyway. And this is for my Australian watchers, who mostly are. But anyway, if you're overseas, this is to do with our Australian netball team, the Diamonds. Now, you would have seen, it's been all over the news, that Gina Rinehart, who's the CEO of Hancock Mining, a company set up by her father, Lang Hancock, Australia's richest woman, by the way, and very, very wealthy woman. Now, she was a sponsor of our national netball team, the Diamonds, signed a contract in December for $15 million. Now, what you're not being told by the news is a few facts I want to bring forward, because Australia loves their netball. I love watching the Australian Diamonds play, particularly when they play the New Zealand Ferns. It is brutal. But be that as it may, it's probably, I think, the world's biggest sport, certainly Australia's biggest sport, I think, alongside soccer. Played by so many people, mixed sport as well, so it's great. Now, here's what you're not being told. First thing was that Gina Rinehart and Hancock Mining actually rescued the Diamonds in September when they signed that contract with them. And the reason they rescued with them, because poor management and poor handling of the finances of the Diamond meant that they were $4.5 million in debt. You're not being told this on the news. They were in debt to the tune of $4.5 million. And they had no way out of that. And Gina Rinehart said, well, I'll pay that debt and sponsor you going forward, so you haven't got to worry about it. Right? Now, is Gina Rinehart and Hancock Mining upright, brilliant, wonderful, clean-skinned company? No. I don't think any company is in Australia. I don't think any company is in the bloody world now. Now that I've looked into this over the last few years, I don't think there's a company on the face of the planet that has as its core, or not too many companies, that has at its core the good of humanity, other than Do Good Labs. Go look for their little bars. Fantastic. Anyway, the point about that is that once she rescued them in September and signed that contract, Australia looked good going forward. Then we had a woman who is an Indigenous player called Donnell Wallam. Now, Donnell has never played for the Diamonds, but she's about to play. I think in England she's going to be playing against England, but she's got a call up to the national team, and she said, I don't want to wear the jersey with Hancock Mining on it. I won't wear it. Because of comments made by the founder, Lang Hancock, back in the 80s, calling for, culling of Indigenous people, or something along those lines. Now, I don't know the exact comments, and I apologise. I should have looked them up. I didn't, but I certainly will go look for that. But either way, whatever he said back then was not correct. It's not correct today. It hasn't been correct for all of us. It's not. There's no place for it, and there never has been. All of us are ashamed of our past. Well, that's not really true. I need to stop myself here. I'm not proud of Australia's history, but I'm proud of where we are and where we're going, and I hope I can be proud of Australia going forward, provided we fight against the tyranny that's trying to usurp this nation, and I hope we all get brought together as one. I believe in true reconciliation and true unity. And there's an Indigenous guy I follow who I'd urge you all to follow, who's an amazing Indigenous elder. He really, really is. He's probably amongst one of the very few, other than Uncle Max, who sadly has passed away. But he used to attend rallies with this guy, Dave Cole Lernper, up in Northern Territory. His dad is the oldest, I think, living Indigenous elder, and he's called the Water Bearer. And now Lernper, or Dave Cole, has at the core of his ideology and his philosophy the unification of Australia as one. No colour, no political persuasion, no religion, sexual orientation, nothing. Everything put aside, Australia as one. We're all in this together. And he's copped a lot of criticism from other Indigenous people because of his stance. Now, I used to have very little knowledge, I think, of Indigenous law, L-O-R-E, prior to following Dave Cole a couple of years ago. And when he put out a call for us to go to the rally in Canberra and support the Indigenous people, we all went. Amazing amount of people went. Over 250,000 people turned up there. Oh, a lot more than that. Although the media said 2,500. I was there, trust me. Oh, God. Anyway, I'm getting off subject there, as I do. Gina Rinehart, these comments that were made by Donnell Wallen were put into the press, because that's what happens. They were put into the press, and Hancock Mining, with Gina Rinehart at the helm, said, okay, I don't like sport being used as a social and political vehicle. And I don't either. We've had the situation in rugby league only a matter of months ago where the Manly players were put through the ringer because their marketing arm decided to put out a gay pride jersey. Now, they didn't consult any of their players or their coach or anybody else, but they blamed the marketing division, who, by the way, had been involved in discussions with this prior with the board. But the board refused to take any responsibility for their actions. The problem there was that the players were not consulted, and amongst those players were an enormous amount of Islanders who refused to wear the jersey and, in fact, refused to play. They just wouldn't play. Now, since that day, Manly has not won another rugby league game. Make of that what you will. And their coach has now been sacked, and he's suing them for $1 million. They're in disarray. Happy days. Oh, but we did a little bit of virtue signalling, which is what Gina Rinehart said this is all about. This is a sport. I'm sponsoring a sport. By the way, Hancock Mining sponsors rowing and swimming and a couple of other sports as well, and various other things. They've got, I don't know what else, but I do know one particular program they have that's in operation up in the Northern Territory, which is an incredible operation, incredible educational program that they run up there. And this one involves Indigenous kids from remote communities who come and do this series of programs resulting in a trade. And at the end of their program, if they pass, and most of them do, they actually get given a job. They're actually given a career. It's quite an amazing situation. I think the government could learn a lot from that. But then again, they don't even sponsor apprentices anymore. Now, Gina Rinehart came out and said, well, if you're going to do this, then I'm removing my sponsorship from the Netball Australia, from Diamonds. And so they'll plunge back in crisis. And they tore up the contract and said, well, if you're going to play this game and you're going to support this player and her beliefs and what she's saying, and you don't want to wear the jersey with my name on it, and I can't have our Hancock Mining or Hancock Prospecting on the jersey that you're wearing, on the uniform, then rip the contract up, I'll put my money somewhere else. Now, the problem is also that you're not being told about with the Diamonds, that there are various other companies who are now afraid, who are sponsors, who are now afraid because of what Gina Rinehart's done, that they too will get caught up in this kind of political activism where sport is used as a medium to push an agenda. Netball Australia is terrified those companies will follow suit and they will remove their endorsement of netball around Australia, because companies are getting a little wary about this. They're getting gun shy about they can't say anything or do anything or make a comment in a certain way, or someone will dig into their past and it's all over, spread over the media, like dog poo on a carpet. So this is what happens, and this is what's got the ball rolling now. Now, Netball Australia refused to mediate with this. They immediately took the side of the Indigenous player, and that was the end of it. Hancock Mining said, well, that's up to you. You do that, I'm out. And now they're out. So they're in a lot of trouble there. Speaking of trouble, my heart goes out at the end of this video to the residents of Lismore. You know that about 6 or 8 months ago, we launched a small campaign where we raised money to buy gift cards. We sent, hundreds of these gift cards. Not hundreds. I think it was around about $4,000 worth up north. And we got Carly Ock to hand them out around Lismore and did some filming of people receiving these cards and interviewed some people. And look, they were gratefully received, and they achieved enormous success because they gave people some money to go and spend and buy some bloody food and whatever. Now, since then, Lismore's been hit twice. I only saying once, but it's been twice. Trust me, I've got friends up there. So this is now the 4th time they've been flooded, and it's about to hit them heavy again. And they're only just recovering. They're on their knees. Now, we all know, believe whatever you want to believe about this, it's entirely up to you, that Lismore, Bathurst, Goulburn, Tamworth, all these cities in Australia are proposed sites of the Smart Cities Network, which, by the way, I think there's 32 cities in America linked to this. Now, Tamworth City Council has put out their guidelines. It's a huge report on the Smart City Network they want to have set up there by 2025. And this is all a part of the WEF and the UN's Agenda 2030. You don't believe me? That's entirely up to you. Hey, go for your life. This is a program put out by the WEF and the UN, and they designated these areas in Australia. I think there's quite a number more. And thanks Tash Misko for the one on Byron Bay. Slightly different, but I know where that's going with that. I'll get to that later. So this is what they're proposing here in Australia. And in the meantime, if you follow the eccentric but incredibly intelligent and well-informed and educated man Robert Douche and his Weather Channel, you can see when he records these glitches in the weather systems using what he calls EMF beams and pulses, and they show up. They're instantaneous. They don't last very long, but you can see them, and he's got them recording on a constant basis, and so he can show you them how they shoot these. Oh God, it's horrifying what's going on. It's absolutely horrifying what's going on. The lengths they'll go to create the illusion and the fear and the propaganda surrounding climate crisis is as evil as it gets. And when you know, like most of us do, who's behind all this and what they're pushing, then that's when you know we're really up against a mighty foe. But we also know that there's some wonderful, great people around the world fighting hard against this. Tremendous amount of great people fighting against this. And we know that in the end we'll win. We know that we'll win it. It's just that we have to go through a hell of a lot of crap before we get there, before these people are exposed. That's all I want to say on this video, other than P.S. Go watch Joe Rogan Experience, where he interviews Roger Waters about Ghislaine Maxwell. Fantastic interview with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, share, subscribe, please. Oh, side note, sorry. I've gone over 400 subscribers. It zipped over 20-odd people overnight, bang, straight up, and I was like, what? It's gone over 400 subscribers. I'm incredibly honoured and humbled. I was looking for 10, then we went for 50, and here we are. I appreciate your support and encouragement. I love the messages. They're fantastic. I try to write back to everybody. It's very difficult, but I try. Peace, light, that old guy Australia, coming to you from a wet south coast. Catch you soon. Remember, we win this.